Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caesar Plays. As you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about the Flash movie that just came out yesterday. And today I got the opportunity to watch it in IMAX. Really fun movie. I will say that I'm not going to go into anything spoiler-ish. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the general things about the movie and my experience with it. Anything spoiler wise is gonna show up at the end of the video, and I'm really not trying to make this video all too long. If anything, I just want to have a little bit of fun and talk about the movie real quick. I do have to say though, my expectations for this movie were very mixed. As the release date was approaching, there was some skepticism going on in regards to like the actors background and all that stuff, and I'm not trying to talk about that right now. I'm trying to talk about the movie, but a lot of skepticism, and just with James Gunn rebooting the whole DC cinematic universe, uh, I had doubts. I did, and I was super skeptical because they were going to adapt one of my favorite Flash stories, which was Flashpoint, and so my expectations were average. I have friends who were super stoked about it. I was like, but I was willing to give this movie a chance. Hence, I watched it on the day of release. Otherwise, if I didn't care, I wouldn't have watched it on the within the first 2 days of the movie coming out. And I have to say that not spoiler wise, like this movie is good. This movie is fun. I laughed more than I expected, and I was hit with emotional scenes more than I was expecting to either as well. I was feeling more towards the character, towards the Flash character, than I was honestly expecting to do so. And Ezra Miller, whatever happens outside of his movies, when it comes to his acting, he does a great job in this movie. I feel playing two versions of himself and doing an interesting job of like still being comedic at the same time, trying like knowing when to turn it off and get into his serious acting mode. And there are moments specifically in this movie where I was like, "Oh wow, oh yeah, no, that's good. It's you're making me feel something right now. Like you're creating an like sadness or frustration or anger or joy through your acting, and you're doing an excellent job in doing so." When it comes to certain things like CGI, I do have to say that if you were not a fan of Thor: Love and Thunder CGI, and that bothered you, like if bad CGI in the movie bothers you, then this movie is very rough around the edges when it comes to the CGI. I don't know, like I was already reading some stuff about it early on, like, oh, be careful for shitty CGI, and I was a little bit skeptical because I thought they meant the stuff from the trailers, which in my opinion felt like, oh, they're just criticizing the trailer CGI, and I mean that's probably gonna look different in theaters, right? And maybe I mean that CGI to me didn't look so bad, but then when they show you scenes that they didn't show you in the trailers that have rough CGI work, and I read something. I'm not sure to what extent this is right or wrong or how accurate this is, but I read something coming from the director, one of the VFX artists, saying that it was that the way the CGI was done in the movie was done on purpose. Which again, I can't verify, can't clarify, I can't prove anything. It's just something I read. If that's the case, then I get it. Maybe for an aesthetic point of view, and there's more to it that I could just put out a 20-minute video explaining, which I don't want to do. There probably are reasons why they went for that, but if you're unaware about all this background and you just go into this movie and seeing what you're going to see, then and bad CGI bothers you, then yeah, you're probably not gonna have that great of a time, or you're just gonna have bad times during those moments that they do stand out. Michael Keaton does an excellent job as returning as Batman. That was very good. I do with all due respect to the actress, I can't remember her name right now, but the woman who plays Supergirl did a great job. Actually, I wasn't I wasn't expecting to feel much for the character, but she does actually a great job here for the little bit of screen time that she has. Um, and I do say, like, for a 2 hour movie, it does feel like it was just a little bit of screen time. Really, like, I was very very worried that this was going to turn into like a movie being carried by the by the supporting actors like Supergirl, Batman, and whatnot. But no, this movie does an excellent job in making the Flash the main character, the main player in this movie, and the main driving point of this entire storyline. And it's great. It's very very great. It goes. Again, the acting was pretty good. The humor was in there. Not all the humor clicked with me, like some of it didn't, but there was a lot of humor that really had me laughing out loud. Now, the action sequences were very fun. If you watch the trailer, you got a little bit of spoil on it, but the two Flashes working together, that's really, really fun. The finale, though, I will say, without spoiling anything, the finale was a little bit on the low end for me. It was a little bit anticlimactic for me, and there are some questions like certain other movies that are certain questions that I still feel are left a little unanswered. Uh, there are cameos here. If you love cameos, there are cameos here, and the cameos are great. A couple of them had the people in my theater, myself included, giving standing ovations. I was fond of it, and that's what I actually. This is part of the reason why I wanted to watch this movie within the first 3 days of it coming out, because I love that crowd reaction of being together with other people who enjoy these kind of movies and who have the background knowledge of these little things. And for those of you that, without spoiling too much again, for those of you that have a little bit of a knowledge in the DC live action movies, and the shenanigans that have gone in the backgrounds and the history of it, then you will have a little bit of fun with this movie. I'll tell you that without spoiling much. Yeah, all that aside, I guess I could give this movie like a good 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. Really, I had a lot of fun, and again, I wasn't expecting to enjoy the movie the amount of time that I did. If you loved anything in regards to the DC cinematic universe, then you're gonna love this movie. If you were skeptical about Ezra Miller's Flash character and you didn't like him because he was too quippy, too jokey, maybe that's something to watch out for as well. I would say in this movie, but I still feel like this is a movie that could be liked by a whole lot of people. It's a very open movie. I didn't get bothered by Ezra Miller's Flash. I liked it, but I admit that it's not the Flash that I remember reading in the comics. That's all. But this portrayal of the character is one that I enjoyed watching in this movie and in Zack Snyder's Justice League, for example. I do have to say as well that this was also interesting to see a different take on the multiversal topic of things. Like I know, like we've had Marvel talk about the multiverse. We've had Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is not a comic book movie, but also another movie talking about the multiple universes and the different take on the parallel universes or different universes. The way they do it in this movie is very very interesting as well. Obviously inspired by the comics, but it's nice to see it in live action format. So if you like the movie, feel free to comment down in the comments down below. If you haven't watched the movie yet and you just got to this part and are interested or eager to watch it, then feel free to leave your speculations. But make sure you write in all caps speculations in the comment section. Now, for those of you that have watched the movie and want to talk about it, please, you're welcome to do so. But make sure you please, at the very beginning of your comment, post in all caps spoilers, so that we're aware. For those that don't want to get spoiled, can skip those comments. That includes replies, please. And all that aside, I'm going to be talking a little bit about spoilers now. So for those of you that haven't watched the movie and want to not get spoiled anything, like, you're welcome to skip this part of the video or come back to this video afterwards. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, whatever YouTube does. And yeah, I'm gonna try and get back to posting more content here on my YouTube. It's been like a year or so, I think, since my last video. Uh, but all that aside, spoiler warnings all gone. The crowd clapped for that Nicolas Cage cameo. I couldn't be happier to see that. Yeah, for a couple of people else in the theater, that was a standing ovation. Seeing Nick Cage get his redeem. I mean, a movie probably would have been amazing. I don't know. There's apparently a documentary out there, which is what happened to the Superman Lives or something like that, or the death of Superman Lives, the documentary where they go into the Tim Burton Superman movie that was supposed to take place. I think it was supposed to feature Brainiac as the main villain, and Nicolas Cage was casted for it, and they did some test footage with with the suit and everything already, with his long hair and everything. And I'm just so glad that we got a little bit of a tease as to what would have been. So that was fun. Oh, man, the baby scene was crazy to me. Like, because it was a comedical area, but like it was going to me in my head, it was going to a dark place. Like, wow, like this is getting awfully close. But then again, I guess that's in the beginning of the movie. I guess that's how the Flash works. It always gets pretty close, and I like the rule setting that they put in his powers of, hey, you can't touch living people, like that will fuck with them. So when you're using the Speed Force, I like that rule setting. I love the phasing explanation. I love how phasing happens in once, and then afterwards he explains how it happens. I think some other people have also pointed it out as well, that even though we didn't really get a Flash movie or Flash Orange movie, I think that this is seeing this new parallel universe, alternate universe, Barry go through his understanding of the Speed Force is very interesting, and it's basically a Flash origin story in a way, while still keeping the plot moving forward, because it's been already like 2-3 movies since we've already seen the Flash pop in already and making cameos and whatnot and features, not including Justice League I'm talking about. So it was nice to have that. Something that something that the Screen Crush, the channel that I follow as well, something that they pointed out caught my attention as well, which is how in other movies where we talk about a hero and his trauma that created his character as a whole, it's interesting how a lot of other movies go against the rule setting of like you cannot change it, and him saying no, I can, and then proving the mentor wrong. But in this movie, it's interesting to just learn that, listen, you really just shouldn't change it. Sometimes you just need to let things be, and the protagonist accepting it. Barry learns in this movie that he just has to move on, that he has to accept that this is what happens. Now, a problem that I have, a small problem, because I still give this movie an 8 out of 10, is that I find it interesting that it's almost implied that Barry's mom dying was necessary for the metahumans to exist, which is incredible in my opinion, because that seems to be the tipping point, right? Obviously, they explain how one thing can branch out to different little things, and then that can cause other things to not happen, and then that creates like this whole root of different different branches popping all over the place of how things can work, and it can become a mess. I understand that, but it's kind of, and I could be wrong, so you please correct me with, again, all cap spoilers. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost kind of imply that just Barry's mom dying is necessary for metahumans to exist. So therefore, like, Superman wouldn't be around, like Aquaman wouldn't be around, Wonder Woman wouldn't be around, which is to me but crazy. Like I would have expected like some of them to still be around that era. Like it was already established that and mind you, like the Flash wouldn't even have existed, I think, because the Barry from this alternate timeline was supposed to be out with his love interest, So so that's to me just kind of the only one of the few things that bothered me. Together with the ending, was kind of a little bit predictable. Like, okay, so this alternate Barry has to die because he eventually becomes this one. Uh, it was a little anticlimactic. I honestly would have been fine with our Barry dying, quote unquote, our Barry, the Snyder Cut Barry dying. Him just accepting like maybe I have to die, maybe I had to just stop this, and then the new Barry taking over or something like that, and that could have been like an introduction to something else. Um, some people are talking about because I looked up a couple of videos after the movie. Some people are talking about the George Clooney making a cameo appearance at the end, and how they think that he's going to be playing the new Batman in the Batman James Gunn universe. And I don't know. I don't think so. I think that they could do. They could. It's an interesting choice to put George Clooney at the very end as Bruce Wayne, because they could do one of two things. They could either really cast him as Batman for the James Gunn universe if they want to, but that would imply bringing Ezra Miller back, because if they're talking about that same timeline, they don't want to. Let's say they don't want to recast the Flash, then that would have to be the situation, in my opinion, if they choose George Clooney as Batman. However, if they want to write out or write away Ezra Miller, then they can use this ending as for you Simpsons viewers, as the Pucci flew back to his home planet kind of write off, where like Ezra is now in a different universe, and that's it. So that's why we're not gonna see him in this other universe that we're at. So yeah, overall, I did enjoy the movie a whole lot. Again, rough around the edges with the VFX, the CGI, the I don't know, like yeah, it was awkward. The CGI sometimes I just can't. There's no other way to say it. Did it bother me? No, because I still understood what the topic and what was being represented. But as much as you can argue that it was supposed to, and I think that's what one of the VFX artists said, that it was done on purpose because it was supposed to form a certain aesthetic. It was supposed to represent something, not the actual image of this event or whatever, of these alternate universe events. I get it, but it still looked weird, like CGI. It looked almost plasticky, which there are other ways I feel you could have done it, and I feel like, and again, I could be wrong. I didn't work on the damn movie, but I feel that I just honestly think that they just didn't have enough time to work on it. They could have delayed the movie more if they wanted to, but I think these James Gunn just said F it, and I just want to start up my new universe, and I don't want to keep this going. I don't want to spend more money and resources on this. I just want to move on with my stuff. I have to move on with my stuff. If I linger too long on the past, then this is just gonna go on forever. I think that was probably the mentality when it came to this movie, and man, it's just oof. Maybe they didn't call this movie the Flashpoint because one or two reasons. One, maybe they plan on doing an actual Flashpoint storyline at some point if they ever make another Flash movie. And again, I'm talking about adapting Bruce Wayne's father and whatnot, because that would be sick as fuck, and I would like that. Please, DC. Please, James Gunn. That could be a reason, or the other reason that I can think of is maybe because of the little joke that was, and I'm not sure to what extent this movie had influence on it, but maybe because of the little joke that Flash Thompson in No Way Home made, where he has like the biography book written about him, about his adventures with Spider-Man, his best friend, and he named it Flashpoint, the book. And I'm not sure if they wanted to, like, they didn't want maybe people to think or assemble, like, how do you call it, put those two together. Maybe that's why. I could be completely wrong. I didn't look it up, but fun movie. 20 minutes already talking about this thing. This supposedly short video, but if you enjoyed it, hit the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like. subscribe, and let me know what you think of the movie as well. Hit up in all caps again, spoilers, and comment away, and I will try to read what I think, and I'll try to reply. Please keep it civil. I know that the DC and the Marvel community can get very rough sometimes, but at the end of the day, we're all fans. We're on this fan base. Let's keep it civil, and let's keep this conversation, this atmosphere as positive as possible. Thank you for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time. Otherwise, feel free to check out my older videos. They still go by DLPOV, but I'm doing this little brand change to Caesar Plays, which again is also my Twitch name, Caesar Plays Live. It'll be in the comment down below, in the description down below, if you want to look into that. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful night, day, wherever you are. I stole that from Chibi Reviews. And take care. Bye.